So as everyone on YouTube has already pointed out, we are right in the thick of summer. Coming back from college, summer might not be as magical as it was in elementary school, but hey, I've got a weird haircut, I have more time for videos, things are okay. I am boarding the complacency train and it is sailing, shoo, right into mild satisfaction city. But things aren't perfect, you know? Now that I'm older, people expect me to get a summer job or a summer internship or just to generally spend my ample free time in a way that positively affects my future, and I have no choice but to play along. Adulthood is knocking at my door with a warrant for my arrest based on several accounts of illegal possession of whimsy. I don't know why I made adulthood a cop in that metaphor. I have nothing against cops. Point being, I need to find summer things to do, and I've already tried climbing a tree, eating a popsicle, and playing with a sprinkler. And frankly, I'm starting to worry that I'm just getting too old for this stuff. I guess I'll go inside and play video games like I always do and squander this beautiful weather. Wait! I've got a better idea. Alright, this is a lot better, but still, the hardest part remains. I've got to decide in the game. Alright, let's see what we've got today. No... Super Mario Sunshine, the summerest game of them all. It's almost like I planned this ahead of time. Movie magic, everyone. Super Mario Sunshine is an interesting case. As the successor to the genre-defining Super Mario 64, it had some huge, intimidating, sexy steel-toe boots to fill, and the result was not quite what people were expecting. So of course, the internet is completely polarized on this. One half played it when they were 8 and think it's the best goddamn Mario game ever, i.e. my generation, and the other half shits on it constantly because it's not Super Mario 64 2. As it happens, they're both wrong, and I'm right, and I'd like to talk about why. I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. Super Mario Sunshine is a Mario game about dolphins and beaches and the ocean with a subtly environmental message in which you can wear sunglasses and ride a dinosaur at the same time, and it wasn't released in the 90s. How? I mean, I know how and why, but how and why? Explain to me. Sunshine is just weird, but Mario as a concept is inherently weird, so what does that mean? A lot of the blame ends up on FLUDD, the water gun that is the game's central mechanic, and to be fair,
I am FLUDD, a flash liquidizer ultra-dousing device.
But you know, it's really the little things that set this game apart. There are tons of unexplainable details that accumulate and tinge the experience with a subtle but unmistakable what the shit was that aftertaste. And honestly, in a medium that so often gets ostentatiously strange, subtlety is actually more unsettling. But why is the game weird, you're saying? Well, you want specifics? I'll give you specifics. This guy. What is his deal? Yeah, you race him a few times and his face texture is the Running Man from Ocarina of Time, that's fun, but who is he? They consciously chose this character design from probably a dozen or more. Why is he the only human here other than Mario and Peach, and why does he have to disguise himself as one of the Pianta natives? More importantly, why is his disguise so hilariously awful? I mean, his name, Il Piantissimo, basically means very Pianta. Dude, come on. And then there's the fact that Goombas aren't in the game, only Strollin' Stews. Boos are in the game, Koopas are in the game, Bob-ombs are in the game, and then there's Strollin' Stew. And the cutscenes, I can't not mention them. Unlike most people, I actually don't hate the voice acting. It's honestly what I'd expect a voice-acted Mario game to sound like. It's just that that shouldn't be a thing. Watching Mario characters in a court of law feels so unnatural, it makes my skin crawl.
Objection!
It's not right. I'm like 85% sure there's a verse in the Old Testament forbidding Mario court scenes. But the clincher, the one that really takes the cake for me, is the secret of the village underside. Certain levels in the game involve a platforming segment that floats in the sky disconnected from the rest of the game world. And finicky as they can be, they provided some platforming challenge that was really one of the most memorable parts of the game for me. And really, how could you not like missions that sound like rejected Hardy Boys novels? Anyway, in this particular level, you don't navigate the platforming segment by jumping, no. To advance, you talk to NPCs who hurl Mario's limp, terrified body through the air in a direction according to the angle at which you talk to them. How do you tell which ones will throw you the right way? You guess. By the end, you will remember what these assholes sound like. Ignoring the frankly bizarre choice to take a game mechanic that's used like twice in the rest of the game and turn it into a whole level, why are these people here? They're all trapped in some horrible pocket dimension. Are they enemies of the state? Are these self-identified chucksters, a marginalized race of Pianta who are subjugated and forced into this a cappella prison? And don't give me that it's just a video game excuse. I know, I acknowledge that you need to apply a heavy dose of Nintendo logic to this game before asking these questions, but Sunshine invests a lot of time into characterizing its setting. It isn't just like, Egg World. Switch World, Bees World. Every world is a constituent part of Delfino Island, a place, and when you take characters from that place and put them into an intentionally abstract platforming level, you're mixing oil and water. And to be perfectly clear, I'm not whining about this stuff, I'm marveling at it, that it is the way it is. This is what's weird about Super Mario Sunshine. Countless decisions like that one, odd, counterintuitive details, not weaknesses, but details, that seem nitpicky at first but build up and create this indescribable aura. And I've seen that in other Nintendo games, but never quite like this. But I am really skirting the edge of weird, boring rant territory, so let's backtrack a bit. I mentioned the setting. I think it's actually one of the game's strongest points. Not only did they manage to make 7 beach worlds that feel mechanically and aesthetically distinct, the theming of those levels is on point, so well done. Each level is one of the island's tourist attractions, so each level conveys a different facet of the feeling of being on vacation. It is the perfect game for summer. At least, in theory. The funniest thing about Sunshine is that you remember that vacation-y feeling, but then you go back to play it, and it is so frustrating. Seriously, the contrast is really amusing. If you were to verbally describe any of these levels, it would sound like a meditation tape from the 90s, but it would sound like the worst meditation tape from the 90s. You are on the shore of a beautiful pool of water. To your right, there is a little shell man with a kind smile. Later, he will force you into a bottle and you won't be able to leave until you find 8 shiny things or until you drown. But don't think about that right now. Inhale deeply and smell the ocean spray. Exhale and let all tension leave your body. The water is a lovely shade of twinkling purple. It is definitely not polluted. Entering the water will not cause you bodily harm or searing pain like the bite of a million hell leeches. Above you, there is a majestic expanse of cliffs. What could be at the top? Maybe a bowl of kale chips with organic hummus, or perhaps a charming personal trainer named Javier. Well, it's not those. It's a mole man in a big dumb tank, shooting balls of paint. I won't lie to you, that's going to be very, very annoying when you scale that expanse of cliffs, but now there is only serenity. And it's not just the obstacles that feel off, Mario is in on the fun too. The little shit practically goes 0 to 60 whenever I graze the analog stick and he side flips to the drop of a hat. It's not badly made at all, but when you compare it to Galaxy or even 64, it just seems a lot more fiddly. But that doesn't mean it's a particularly hard game. There is a difference between difficult and annoying. But oh, sometimes 3 or 4 design flaws will combine into a symphony of bullshit. My personal favorite? Gotta be Yoshi's Fruit Adventure. So you have to feed fruit to a Yoshi egg, and the fruit comes out of these big drums, which the game doesn't telegraph too well. Hopefully you know the quickest way up to the drums, you probably don't, because you dispense the fruit by ground pounding the little dongle on top. And you have to alternate pounding the 2 dongles, because one dongle is just too convenient. The fruit comes out at random, and sometimes it won't dispense fruit for, I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. And hopefully you're manually moving the fruit out of the way every so often, because when you finally get the fruit you need, there's a chance it'll bounce off a banana into the water and you have to start over. Then, because the fruit Yoshi wants is the one kind of fruit you can't pick up, you have to kick it over to the egg while you grapple with hypersensitive kicking physics to make it really easy to kick it into the water, and then you have to start over again. When you finally get on Yoshi, you have to use his juice to turn fish into moving platforms over water that vaporizes Yoshi but leaves you alive, because just killing you would be far more merciful than making you start over again. And hopefully you got the fish platforms at the perfect altitude, because if it's too high or too low, you have to either wildly spin jump and risk falling, or wait for it to turn back into a fish, which is a problem because, oh yeah, almost forgot, as soon as you get Yoshi, you're on the clock. He disappears when you're out of juice. And the best part? This is an optional level, but the game doesn't telegraph that too well. I'm telling you, it is a masterpiece, a thing of beauty. I want to shake the designer's hand. And in all seriousness, it is fascinating how many layers of frustration there are here. But you know what's even more fascinating? I keep coming back. I got this game at least 10 years ago, and I come back to it again and again no matter how many times it breaks fundamental platforming rules. Why? I don't know, maybe because when you turn the game on you get this. Delfino Plaza, what an overworld, what a hub. It might not be as revolutionary as Peach's Castle, but it's just as iconic and twice as fun to explore. And most importantly, it has easily the best secrets of any Mario hub. An expansive sewer system, an obnoxious water sprint, a giant pachinko machine in the sky. But for some reason my favorite has always been the red coin field. It's just a red coin mission, but it's in such an interesting little space. For some reason the lack of context in the larger game world just doesn't bother me here. Quick tangent, my favorite recurring concept in Nintendo games is the idea of the miniature garden. In Japan, I guess they have gardens that fit in drawers or something, and Nintendo loves using that as a metaphor for traversing a finite game world and discovering secrets. And so I guess this level is a miniature garden within a miniature garden. There's so much you can do with a closed limited space that you just can't do with fancy terrain generators. I wouldn't mind spending an afternoon here. I mean, the self-immolating guy might bum me out a little, but you know. you take what you can get. So if it's not blindingly obvious, my relationship with this game is complicated. I could spend a long time complaining about it, and actually I just did. You watched the whole time. But so often the things we criticize most harshly are the things that are closest to us, and Super Mario Sunshine, it's emblematic of the GameCube generation, my generation. It was my first 3D Mario game, and actually I think it might have been my first Mario game, which is weird. I adore the feel the game is going for, and the gameplay doesn't always mesh with that, but when it does, I remember what it was like to be screwing around as a kid, enjoying summer. And you know, I'm fine with that kind of inconsistency if it means getting an end product that takes risks, like Super Mario Sunshine does. What I'm saying is buy unusual games so we get more unusual games. That's all. I hope you're all having a good summer, and I know I haven't been very present for most of it, but that will change. I can change. Look, I know I promised to show up to your baseball game, but I just couldn't make it. I'm very busy at work. Your mother and I are working very hard to give you a life that's better than the one we had. I'm tired of wind. I'm tired of this leaf. Cue the end screen. Oh, fuck.